What is poppin', everybody? For those who aren't familiar with this channel, I am Max, the part-time pitmaster, and y'all are watching Part-Timers Pit Barbecue. And on this episode, we are doing a Saltlick Blacks BBQ style 2-stage cook. So off the jump, we're cooking on the pellet grill. And then once we get about 3/4 of the way done, we are gonna switch over and cook it on the second half of this cook is gonna be done on my Barrel Boss drum smoker, direct heat with some mesquite and oak wood chunks, and I'm gonna hit it with that Saltlick style mop sauce, so we're gonna be making that as well. So stick around and let's get to it. Hi y'all, so here we have a Swift Select full packer brisket. Pretty much the bottom of the barrel when it comes to quality wise for briskets, but we will see if we can't make something delicious out of this. Straight out of the package, this thing's pretty gnarly, big huge gashes in it and a lot of large pockets of fat, but we'll whittle it down and make it work. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the trimming of this brisket, but I'm going to use this time to talk about what inspired this video. So I am a huge YouTube junkie. I've probably watched every single barbecue YouTube video there is out there. And there's this one that I always go back to and I like to watch. It's a little dated, but the host is following and doing a little thing on Saltlick BBQ. Now, the owner says that his grandfather realized that the barbecue is better the next day. They also mentions the lack of refrigeration back in those days, so how they kept their barbecue for the next day is a little weird to me, but I'm not here to argue the logistics. So what they do is they start off their briskets in the big rotisserie pits, and then they finish them to order on that big circular open pit in the middle of the restaurant. Pretty iconic pit. If you're into barbecue, you most likely know what I'm talking about. And as it's sitting there, they mop it with their delicious mop sauce. But yeah, so I've always been intrigued by that. Also, the Eat More Vegans YouTube channel follows the restaurant Blacks BBQ. And he's with the owner there, who's I think 3rd or 4th generation pitmaster from that restaurant. And they also do a 2-stage cook. So he follows along with him, and then he goes and tries to recreate that. So it got me thinking, I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I've always been intrigued by Saltlick. So why don't I try that? But I do it more Saltlick style with the mop sauce and the 2-stage cook. So with that being said, I'm going to show y'all how we make the rub, and let's get to it. So for this rub, we got 2 separate coarsenesses of black pepper, a larger one and a smaller one. We got some Lawry's and kosher salt. Then we're going in with some granulated garlic powder, some cayenne, and some crushed red chili flakes. We're gonna throw this all together, mix it up, and yeah, look at this. That's a delicious looking rub. So let's get to seasoning. First things first with this seasoning, we are using some white distilled vinegar as a binder. This is an old school technique. The acids in the vinegar will help break down the protein in the meat and make it tender, and I figured with this select brisket, why not pull out all the tricks? And then from there, we are going to season this up with this rub we made. We're going to get a nice coat. We're going to get all the sides, all the edges, and yeah, we're going to season it up nice. Now this rub is a kind of Blacks inspired rub. Now they use iodized table salt, not kosher salt. I didn't have any of that, and I wanted to use kosher salt, but I also threw in Lawry's. They do not do that. They also use a thicker coarseness of black pepper, I think a 10 mesh, they said. So that's why I threw in the thicker coarseness there. Also, you can see in their rubs, they got a little bit of chili flakes in there, and I heard a lot of old school places throw in some cayenne in their rub. So I was trying to mimic that. Now, of course, cayenne is a pepper, crushed red chili flakes is a pepper, so you can still say it's salt and pepper. Hint, hint, I'm sure a lot of places are doing it. Anyway, so again, we are gonna season this up nice, getting all the edges, a good coat of this rub over top of this brisket, and then from there, I'm gonna wrap it up, put it in my fridge until the morning when we fire up the pit and throw it on there. So yeah, I'll see y'all then. Good morning, everybody. It is about 6 a.m. getting this brisket on the Green Mountain Grills. Now, the Green Mountain Grills has to come up to a pit temp of 150 before you can set it to your desired cooking temp. So I like to get the meat on at that point and then set the temperature that I want to cook at. We're going to be cooking at 200 for about 3 to 4 hours, and then I'll bump the temp up to about 225 for the rest of the cook. So we're here, top rack where the smoke does the dance. Let's set that temperature, load the hopper with some lumberjack pellets. We're going with oak here, and then yeah, we'll get to cooking. All right, y'all. So we are about at the 4.5 hour mark. Around the 3 hour mark, I spun the brisket around. We are cooking, obviously, fat cap up. It is smelling amazing out here. This is the first stage of this cook. Bark is starting to develop, fat's starting to get yellow. But when I tempt it, we are sitting around 160. So we still got a ways to go to get to, I think, about 180 is when I'm gonna pull it. But anyway, let's go in for a closer look. It is smelling amazing out here again. Must be making the neighbors jealous, but that's what it is. All right, anyway, let's go in. Okay, so we are at the 8-9 hour mark. This brisket is looking money. So temperature wise, we are sitting pretty close to the 180 mark. So I'm gonna get ready to pull this off, cool it down until tomorrow when we put it on the other pit. So vents are wide open. We are coming up to temp. I want to sit around 250, 275. So now I am going to close down the vents, let everything regulate, and then we'll get the brisket on. All right, y'all. It is the next morning. This is our brisket that we cooked yesterday to 80%. I wrapped it up. It's been in the fridge all night. We got our drum smoker fired up. It's rocking about 275 right now. So we're gonna unravel this and get this on the pit and get to mopping. So let's go. Let's make this Saltlick style mop sauce, barbecue sauce. We're going with a whole heap of apple cider vinegar, probably about 1.5 cups. And then we're gonna hit in some Worcestershire sauce. Now we are on a medium heat here, just bringing everything up slowly up to temperature. Then we're going in with some hot sauce here, a little bit of lemon juice. We're gonna mix everything here. Again, we are on a low heat, and then we're gonna throw in some brown sugar, some kosher salt, and some spices. Smoked paprika, cayenne, garlic powder, chili flakes, and black pepper. And we're gonna just melt and dissolve the sugars and salts. Then we're gonna add about maybe a 1/4 cup of mustard, mix that up. And here's the important part to this sauce is the emulsification. So we're gonna go in with the hand zipper, get that going, and we're gonna attempt to slowly pour in a cup of vegetable oil. And you want everything to emulsify and come together. It'll make it nice, silky, smooth. It's almost like a barbecue vinaigrette for your meat, if you will. And then we're gonna keep it on warm until we're ready to use it. Everything's gonna set up. It's gonna be delicious. The flavors are gonna intensify. It's an incredible sauce. I can't stress this enough. But anyway, I can't wait to make some ribs. I'm gonna throw this on the ribs. But anyway, let's get back to when we're mopping. So we are about 1.5 hours into this second stage of this cook directly over the coals, and we're going with the first mop. So we are mopping the top side of this. We're gonna get a nice coat of this down. Then we're gonna close the lid, let it sit for another hour, and then we'll come back and mop again. But yeah, that's already looking delicious. Okay, y'all. So we are about to hit this with the flip and mop, but we're gonna mop the top side again. And then we're gonna flip it. Get the lean side, give the lean side a little love. Look at that. Hey y'all, we are hovering around the 5-hour mark. I've been flipping and mopping, maintaining around 250, 275, usually closer to 275 temp mark for the pit. Yeah, and flipping and mopping. It is looking delicious. It's smelling amazing out there. See that little bit of that direct heat smoke. So obviously the fats and the sauce and mop sauce is dripping onto the coals, adding extra flavor. Perfect. But anyway, I'm gonna go in there and we are gonna check the temperature and see if we're almost ready to pull it off. So yeah, let's go. It is looking really good. Let's see, got the ghetto thermometer out right now. 190s. Still feeling a little tough over here. Yeah, we got some, but the point is starting to feel really good. So we're gonna flip it and let it go for another 30 minutes. So after about 45 minutes, we were temping in the 200s and most importantly, probing tender. So now we're gonna rest this brisket. So we're wrapping it up in foil. We got a little bit of beef tallow that I rendered down from this brisket and some of the leftover mop sauce. And we're gonna wrap it up, let it rest for a couple hours until we are ready to eat. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so after a nice 2-hour rest in my oven set to warm, it's time to slice into this brisket. And as you can see, that fat, nice and yellow, rendered perfectly. I'm trying to mimic the Saltlick style, so I'm cutting a bit on a bias. And as you can see, that really widens out your flat slices. So I actually cooked this specifically because I wanted to make sandwiches. I wasn't 100% confident with how this brisket was going to turn out, but I can say I was pleasantly surprised. So here we're separating the point from the flat at the backside there, and we're going to start slicing against the grain on the point. And even the point was perfect. Nice, tender, pretty good for moisture. Again, this was a select brisket, but it turned out awesome. Bark flavor, perfect. I'm at a loss for words. It was an awesome brisket. I'll definitely be doing this method again. Now I'm just gonna, play with my meat a little bit here. I'm gonna hold out a flat slice so y'all can see. Nice, super tender, holds up on its own weight. But yeah, again, thank y'all for coming along on this journey. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.